What's happening? Welcome to the Fabulous Big Bet. My name is Memphis. You can follow me on Twitter at DWZMemphis. And on tonight's show, we're going to cover a James Robinson season-long rushing prop bet. But before I get into that, I want to make sure to remind you to hit the subscribe button down below. Turn those notifications on. You won't miss any of my prop bet action all season long. You also won't miss my boy Kyle doing his Saturday waiver wire sniping edition show, and a lot of other great content coming up here on YouTube at the DWZ Football Network. So you don't want to miss anything. I'm going to jump into this real quick. We'll tell you this show is sponsored by Manscaped. You could head over to manscaped.com, use promo code ZONE, that's Z-O-N-E, and it'll save you 20% off and get you some free shipping. You don't want your man bits or your lady bits all out of sorts going into the regular season. So that is, again, a word from our friends Manscaped at manscaped.com, promo code ZONE. Save 20%, get that free shipping. So I'm going to jump into this real quick. James Robinson, over under 900, that's 900.5 rushing yards plus 100. So basically it's even money. You bet $100, you win, you would get your 100 plus 100 of theirs, so 100 would pay 2. So it's basically a double up. If you wanted to go under, if you wanted to go against my number, you would be laying $1.30, which means you would have to you would have to bet $130 to win 100. I love the over on this. I've already got action down on this. I got a 2-unit bet for me personally on this. I'm going to run you through real quick some of the reasons why I love James Robinson to go over 900, basically 901 yards. That's what you need to cash this prop. And I'm not normally a big over guy. You're fading injury, you're fading just a lot of stuff with the over that's kind of baked into the number. But this number's so low that I just can't help but go over. Obviously, the loss of Travis Etienne is huge. It's a huge boost to him and his projected rush total on the season without Etienne, even with Carlos Hyde there, does not bother me. I know they signed Duke Johnson to their practice squad, but that's really, in my opinion, more of like will impact his passing game work, which will impact him for fantasy, but not for this prop. Robinson, he had 240 rush attempts last year on the worst team in the NFL. Now, 240 rush attempts, 1,070 yards on the worst team in the NFL. Remember, they had the number 1 overall pick, and he averaged 4.5 yards per rush on a below average offensive line. So that would mean for James Robinson to go over 900 using his 4.5 rushing yards per attempt last year, he would have to get 201 total rush attempts this year at 4.5 yards per rush. I think that's pretty simple. That's not even 12 a game in a 17-game season. With this being an over, I do have some injury variance baked in. So even if he only played 14 games like he did last year, he would only have to average 14, just a shade over 14 rush attempts per game. And last year, Robinson had 5 games at 99 rush yards or more. So 5 games, basically 100 or more rushing yards. So if he did that again this year, that's more than halfway to this rushing prop. And a couple other things I like about Robinson in 2021. The Jags are returning all 5 starters. Now, that could be good or bad. We would have loved to have seen them add a guy like a Penei Sewell or a Christian Darrisaw, but they didn't. They went Travis Etienne. You can't change that now. But continuity is pretty important along the offensive line. They're ranked 23rd per Pro Football Focus coming into 2021. But I think they could take a step forward, improve signal caller, all 5 starters returning. Again, you ask offensive linemen or people in the NFL, they're going to tell you along the offensive line, continuity is king. Like I said, I would have loved an upgrade, but there is at least some silver lining here. Also, the addition of Marvin Jones and the perceived emergence of Laviska Shenault. Now, let's be honest, DJ Chark was never going to be an alpha wide receiver 1. Some of us might have thought he was going to be. Got the size, 6'3", good draft capital, but just I don't think it's going to happen. But I love the fact that he's now their wide receiver 3. So improved skill position players around the offense is just going to make more running lanes and better running lanes for James Robinson. So just another reason why I like the over. Slight QB upgrade. Maybe you've heard of Trevor Lawrence. He's really good. Number 1 overall pick. And again, improved weapons, improved quarterback, continuity across the offensive line. I think this is also going to make his weekly reception total something to look at. Last year, Robinson was routinely in the 1.5 to 2.5 catches per game prop. So keep an eye out on that. We'll probably be smashing the over on that a lot as well on a week-to-week basis. And finally, let's talk their schedule. So in weeks 1 through 5, Robinson starts the season with per Sharp Analytics. This is Warren Sharp. You go to sharpanalytics.com. They have a couple of tools, and you can rate the defenses and offenses and against the pass and against the run. And when you do that for rushing defenses, James Robinson and the Jaguars in general, in weeks 1 through 5, have the easiest projected schedule of any team in the league. So in weeks 1 through 5, they face the Texans, the Broncos, the Cardinals, the Bengals, and the Titans. All those teams, except the Broncos, will probably continue to struggle against the run in 2021. And those are all games that I think the Jags can at least be in. I don't know that they could win, but I think they would at least be in those games. So more rushing opportunities for James Robinson. I love that. And he also ends the season with a 5-game stretch. That's also one of the best per Sharp Analytics. In that 5-game stretch, he gets the Texans and Titans again. He gets the Jets, the Patriots, and the Colts. Now, the Colts have been on and off tough against the running back, and Uncle Bill and the Patriots defense should be pretty good. But you got to love coming down the home stretch with games against the Texans, Titans, and the Jets. So for me, you add it all up, he would have to get 53 yards a game in a 17-game schedule. Again, I'm baking in a little injury variance, and I'm going to bank on him getting 64 yards in 14 games. And for those reasons, I love James Robinson over 900.5 rushing yards on the season, plus 100 at the Draft Kings Sportsbook. Again, thanks for tuning in. My name is Memphis. I've got one more season-long prop. It's on a running back. It's going to be an under, and it's going to be Wednesday night before the big bet right here on the DWZ Football Network, courtesy of the fabulous Big Bet. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week. We'll see you here at the show.